Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It has been quite some time since I've uploaded. I know that. Practically just about a year since the last video was up. Um, I really never anticipated for it to take this long to really get back into the content. I didn't really know when I was going to be getting back into it. I just knew I was, at least leading up into Infinite. But this last year has been still pretty filled with quite a bit going on. It's not quite what we thought it would be. Leading into Infinite, we thought there might be a little bit more going on, but still some exciting things, and just a lot in general. So what have I been up to this past year? Since that last recap video, I was, like earlier on in this year, I was trying to compete in Apex, trying to do just something else, streaming quite a bit, just keeping myself occupied with something competitive, just because I'm very competitive by nature, and I just wanted to just keep myself busy. Going into the end of last year, around that November-December timeline when MCC started coming to PC, that's when I realized I kind of wanted to not be left out on the train leading into Infinite for content and creating that brand around all that. So came back to compete in Reach. As we all know, that did not turn out so well. We didn't place all that well, but I'm back in it. I was streaming, I was playing, I was competing. And then, of course, we all know what we're in now with the pandemic, that just been at home a lot, streaming, putting out that type of content at the very least pretty consistently since earlier this year. I was still going to school the entire time, still just trying to work away at my degree, just kind of just grinding away in my own way, doing whatever I could do to kill time and still trying to accomplish some things. I will say I'm really happy and pleased with the growth I've been seeing and the support that I've been getting over time, especially this year. Earlier this year, during the pandemic, whenever I really started to take streaming full-time, like very seriously. So if you guys are coming over here to watch this video right now, I just want to say I really appreciate it. So yeah, it's been weird because it's felt busy and not busy at the same time. Busy in the sense that I've been at least putting in the grind for something, but still just waiting here. We're all just waiting, of course, and obviously today being the day it is, or the timeline that it is, we know that Infinite happens to be delayed until further notice leading into the next year. It's not going to be Holiday 2020, which I've recapped this on my stream plenty of times since that message was relayed from 343. Very disappointing. There's no beating around the bush with that sort of sentiment. We're all disappointed. But I do want to say that I think this is the most important decision that they could have made, and important meaning like a very good important decision, that it's the hard one to make, because if we happen to go into the next era of Halo with a subpar, half-assed kind of game, I will just make a little caveat that Halo 5 was that. I still love Halo 5. I've enjoyed it plenty, and I know many of you also probably have, or have not maybe, but it released in a state that really was not warranting, like, it was not a Halo title in the sense of like what it should have lived up to. And Infinite really is this big, and needs to be big, and it needs to be explosive in the greatest sense of that word. And if they need that extra time, they really do need to make sure that it is the perfect launch. I would hope, so just to give a little bit of my impressions as well, is that the game looked very polished. I like the way the look, the foundation, the fundamentals, all that there, it made me think Halo. So I just wanted to get that out of the way and put that out there. If you guys don't already know, you're just coming here for this video and haven't been keeping up with the streams to hear my thoughts on that. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far, but obviously there are some things lacking. So I'm behind this decision. I'm disappointed. But that's just me being a person who's been waiting for 2 years to get back into like competing and making content for a new game. I know we've all been waiting for it. So it's very unfortunate. I will say that, just to kind of a little bit of a throwback to what we talked about last year with my predictions on Infinite, I did think I kind of hit a good note with thinking that it would be kind of middle of the road, like hitting a sort of medium. With the gameplay, it looks to be pretty new, also with some old, I mean, not really so much old, but there's just design aspects of it that reminded me of older Halo that I think is a good thing. And they kind of took a step back from the super advanced things that were in Halo 5, which to some, I know some people really like a lot of the extra fluff that was in Halo 5, but I think fundamentally, just for a well-rounded game to be serviceable to a lot of people, and for a lot of people to enjoy, it needs to be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more just that sort of middle of the road sort of play style, with the sandbox being like the biggest aspect of it. So we saw like a grapple hook, we saw the pickups, throwing fusion coils, all that extra stuff that's part of the sandbox that I think that's what Halo has been lacking, to be the main focus of like you create your own play and like you kind of you are the one that's creating the fun experience rather than always getting all these crazy things off the bat and you just always choose when to do it, when you want to do it, like Halo 5. And even like loadouts with Halo 4 and Reach and all that. So I think right now, my impressions for Infinite is still hopeful. I hope that this extra time with the delay is going to allow them to really polish and come out with the best possible product that they possibly can, because that's what we need. That's what the Halo community needs. Yeah, that's kind of all there is to say on the Infinite portion of it, I guess. There really isn't too much else to get into. We just have to wait and see now. Hopefully it is sooner than later. So that's kind of where I was going with that. It looked pretty polished, like just fundamentally looking at the gameplay, everything looked pretty smooth, looked fun to me. So it just needed like touch-ups. And so I would hope that in rather than months, than a year would be the more realistic timeline that we actually see the game. But I don't know. None of us really know right now, and we will just have to wait on the word of 343. I'm really hoping, I tweeted at, I don't know who it was, I responded to some tweet that I really hope to see some more open communication about like the development cycle, like how they did with MCC leading up to it on PC. Like they get a little bit more transparent with how they communicate with the community. I hope we see multiplayer sooner rather than later. I think we still need just the trickle in of content from them to keep people interested, especially like I think at this point, if there's still like this obvious delay that's in front of everybody, as long as we still see the content and we know like this isn't the final and they have more time, but there still is that fundamental layer to it that I'm excited for, and I know a lot of other people were still excited for, because obviously a lot of people were defending like I don't really care about the graphics that much. We all want to say that. We all would love the game to look perfect, but it seemed like a lot of people were on board with how the gameplay looked, which I think that's a good thing. Fundamentally, that's a great thing, but Halo still needs to hit every nail on the head. It needs to be perfect, as close to perfect as possible for this game to really get on the right track and reach that status that it's been at before. So I just really hope to see there to be a more open communication about like what's going on through this delay, why it was delayed, what they could be, or what they are working on. Obviously they can't just divulge everything and talk about it too openly, and that just kind of ruins the surprise and like some things about the gameplay they want people to wait until they actually get their hands on. But just a little bit more talk about the game in general, rather than waiting for some big event 4 months down the line. I don't want to see I don't want to see multiplayer in January. I'll just say that. Like, I would love to see multiplayer sooner than that. So, here's the hoping for that. So moving on into what is kind of coming up next with the channel. It's probably just going to be a little bit more of what I did before, trying to do some tips, tricks, all that stuff. Maybe just having some breakdowns. More recently on the streams, I used to do some coaching. I'm not plugging anymore. I really don't coach one-on-one anymore. But I do sort of do a pseudo coaching. That's a little plug anyway for the stream if you use channel points for me to break down your theater review live on stream. And so stuff like that is what I also want to start implementing into taking it so that people can come back to here. You guys can watch it, anybody can watch it, and start learning from it. I really want to be like that person to help teach people and just implement tactics to better your game for the future of Halo and Infinite. Because I mean, baseline Halo is Halo. I could attribute a lot of things I say from Halo 5 into any other Halo and still be at the top. So I think there's just a lot of fundamental basic traits and like tips that will apply to no matter what Halo you're playing. So stuff like that in general is really what I want to try and go for. And yeah, I want to try and get a little bit more personal as well. I've been trying to really create that brand, like really put myself out there this past year or so, which I think a lot of people could appreciate and can appreciate rather. So I want to just try and be more interactive, just more involved, just to get more people to talk with, discuss with, be hype, be whatever. Just have just that interaction, that sense of community that I think the Halo community has been lacking for quite some time with any sort of figureheads in general. And I want to be that person that leading into Infinite can be there for a lot of people. So that's really what I want to try and do, and try and hammer in leading into Infinite. It sucks. It's like the silver lining of I get more time before the big game comes out. I can get a little bit more practice in with Halo 5 or whatever while I'm streaming and interacting with a smaller community, a smaller amount of people, which it's like it'd be nice to like have everything be here now and everything's ramping up, but that's the silver lining. I'm still happy to interact and talk with you guys about anything and work with you guys on anything to just help out and be there. So yeah, I really want to try and be that person to keep the content rolling, to be there for people that are looking for somebody like that in the community, because like I said, I think it's been lacking for quite some time. We need personalities. We just need more people involved, and hopefully some other pros, some other people can follow in my footsteps. I'm going to try and, because I really don't see that many people doing that right now anyway. I will just say that. I'm not saying I'm the only one, because I'm definitely not, but hopefully more people get inspired to do the same. So I think that about wraps it up for what has been, what is now, and what is to come. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to what I'm going to be trying to do throughout the rest of this year, and whenever the launch of Infinite is to come. I'm excited still nonetheless, but obviously we're all a little disappointed right now. But if we just have each other, we have the community, we can just keep interacting, talking, playing, doing what we're doing now until the time comes. I'm sure that'll be able to pass the time that much faster. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to leave a comment. I'm also going to try and do a Q&A video very soon. So if you would like to ask me a question, I would prefer it to be a little bit more personal, so that you guys can maybe get to know me a little bit better. If you want to ask me what my thoughts are on Infinite, I kind of feel like I gave my thoughts already. Check out the streams, but in general, I'm excited. And be sure to check out the previous Infinite video from last year for my predictions and what I hope to come from that game, or any sort of general questions. I'd like to have a just more specific Q&A if you guys got them. But be sure to leave a question in the comments, and I'll be sure to try and answer it. Have a great one, guys. I'll see you on the next one.